doing with joy and happiness and feeling grateful and blessed. And that's what today's show is about. And I've got a special guest today. But before I bring the guest on, I just wanted to talk to you about Thanksgiving. And let's say the modernized definition of it in the world of me, in the world of Marla. And for me, it's a day of being grateful. Grateful for all we have. Grateful for whatever family we have around us, friends, our pet companions. And if you don't have pets, the ones you adopt from your neighbors. It's a day to realize the abundance we have. And my guest is going to share some worldly views on what other people in other countries are going through, as much as anything else. It's not going to be a full hour today. We're just going to have a brief conversation, and I'm going to just then send you off with love to enjoy your day with your family. So I'm bringing on my husband, Gary Goldberg. And Gary is a world-renowned traveler. His company, Promation, is a robotics company based in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And he has so many unique insights into what's going on globally. And it might just give us a different perception it might change the perception of how we are here in America. So welcome, Gary Goldberg.
All right, Marla, one of my favorite people in the world.
I hope so. So we were talking before we got on about what was going on globally and about how lucky we are in the U.S. for everything that we really have. And so let's talk about some of the things that we were talking about offline before we got on. I know you were talking about, let's start with Afghanistan. I know this is, it might seem a little dark, but the focus is on how blessed we are. So why don't you share with me what you had read this morning?
Well, there's a lot of things going on all over the world. And of course, living in the U.S., I think sometimes with all of the I'll say politics and other things going on, we forget how good we really have it. The article I was reading this morning was about the third largest city in Afghanistan, how there's a lot of famine and hunger going on, and how some of the families to eat are drugging their children because it costs 10 cents to get 10 pills to subdue them versus 10 cents for a piece of bread, selling kidneys and other body parts to feed their families. And it was just a very sad article, and my heart went out to them.
Is this because of the new regime? Is this because of the new regime that took over?
Yes, basically they're being isolated. But even more than that, you and I have friends in China as well, and China just can't seem to get past the COVID pandemic. What's going on there, everyone's reading in the news about, the iPhone factory where employees are being beaten because they just don't want to be quarantined anymore. There's just a lot of things going on there, and I don't know why they can't seem to beat it, but they can't. As a matter of fact, the article I read said that the cases jumped another 30% in one day. So my heart goes out to those people as well. And then of course we have everyone else, right? The poor people of Ukraine who the onset of winter, no power, no heat, and so I think my heart goes out to them. But we in the U.S., yes, we have rising food prices, and yes, we have, gas prices that aren't as favorable, but, all in all, when we think we have it bad, we really don't have it that bad.
It's all perspective, right?
It's all perspective, right? And so I know I'm very grateful today for our family, for obviously you, my dear, um, for our grandchild, and for the many friends that you and I've had for, oh my God, in some cases 50 years. I mean, I've known your sister since kindergarten. So,
Yes.
there's a lot to be grateful for there. And
And
while we're
don't you
not
think
having,
there's,
no, I was
and
just going
don't
to
you,
say, while we're not having a fancy meal today, we are having a meal of thankfulness and a lot of smiles and gratitude.
and don't you think that, I mean, look at, like many families, we've had very challenging times with family relationships. And for the first time since you and I have been together, I feel that we can honestly say that our family is really becoming very weaved together in a beautiful and flowing way. But many people out there, they don't want to go to their family dinners. People trigger each other and they push buttons and they think they have the right to say things that they don't have the right to do. So I do first of all want to say I am so grateful for the peace and the balance that we have finally achieved right now in our family, and I'm so grateful for that. And then let's talk about how to handle some of these challenges because I know we've come across political differences. We've come across ideology, differences in our ideology, differences in the way we do things. And, we've had some very bombastic kind of meals with our families. And so I want to let you tell me your way of dealing with it, and then I'll talk about, how I suggest dealing with it.
Yeah, the path is not always a short one, and it requires patience. It requires a belief that things will get better, can get better. We want to make them better. All the positive talk has to happen, and sometimes that's difficult. You know, um, when comments are made and other things, and you just have to bite your tongue and move on. The long and short of it is you're right. Family is not always easy. I always find though that there is some point in someone's life, in someone's childhood, that's worth a good laugh. And you know me, I believe that laughter solves a lot of sadness, and it's always that one good belly laugh that can kind of break the ice and make things better. Um, Yeah, I'm personally today I'm grateful for my daughter Megan coming back after many years of trying to figure things out. Um, Grateful for my son Mike, our new granddaughter, Palmer, who's just seems to light up everyone's life. Um, Marla, just personally speaking, I'm grateful for you because you and I are, as Forrest Gump says, two peas in a pod. Uh, we just, yeah, I let you be you, you let me be me, and the rest is just love. So thank you.
Thank you, honey. I appreciate that. And let's not forget bringing, being the gratitude for Courtney and Zach because they're on your side of the family, and my sister and her family, my niece, my nephew, Sarah and Aaron, Dan, my niece's partner. Grateful for each and every one of you, and then my brother Bruce and Violet, and we've got Stuart and Addison in New York. So grateful for all of you, and there we don't have enough time to mention our friends, but so grateful for each and every one of you that come in. But I want to talk about challenges because many people are dreading going to the family dinner. Because if you saw Home for the Holidays with, it's an old movie with Robert Downey Jr. and Holly Hunter. It is it's pretty funny, but it's real with the different personalities and the dysfunctions. And My best guidance that I think I could share with everybody is that if somebody is prodding you, goading you, be very upfront and say, "This, let's change the subject. This isn't something I want to talk about." And if they don't let it go, I would pick myself up, either go to a different room, put on my coat, go take a walk. I wouldn't quite abandon ship totally, but give some space and grace to what's going on, and then come back. And if they start up and say, "Excuse me, I've asked you to not talk about the subject, or criticize me or judge me. And if you continue, I will have to leave." And if they continue, then I think, yes, extricating yourself from the situation is the proper thing to do. Because if nobody else is going to intervene for you, and there are families like that. And I will tell you, my family during holidays growing up were like that. They thought the elders felt that it was okay to say whatever it is they wanted to say, whether it was a critique about my outfit or my life or my relationships, and I would sort of like sit and seethe. But now I don't do that. Now I will be very upfront about, saying in a very polite way, "I don't think this is acceptable. I'm not open to your suggestions. If you have something constructive to say, I'd be happy to hear it, but I'm not going to just take your judgments and criticisms, and I would like you to please stop." And again, if they don't, remove yourself until you calm down and can handle things from a different way. Or if they don't stop when you come back, then yes, I would excuse myself. And I'd take a doggy bag on my way out, especially if the food is good. But there's ways of doing it, or changing the subject. Have holiday jokes, and just throw a joke in, and just sort of change the direction of the conversation to try to bring some levity to it. I was watching a show yesterday. Oh, it was Gilmore Girls, which I never saw growing up, but I now am watching Gilmore Girls, and there was a very uncomfortable situation going on, and they pulled out some game from the closet. And the game is to break the ice, to liven things up. So my suggestion is if things start getting tense, somebody pull out that charades on your phone that you put on your head. You know the one, Gary, that we do?
Yes, heads up.
Heads up. Thank you. And you start playing heads up, and you start, changing the energy in the room. You have the power to do that. You have the power of control. And the most important thing to control is not others. It's to control yourself and how you're receiving and dealing with whatever it is that's happening. What do you think about that, Gary?
I think that's great. I also would avoid the comment, this conversation's as dry as the turkey. And that stuff, because that'll just,
Put more fuel on that fire.
That's right. A little more, yeah, a little more gravy, please.
An indoor bonfire would happen.
That's right. No, it is, and kids today, they want their iPhones, they want to play their games, they don't really want to engage with the family, and I think there should be some rules and regs for the day. I mean, there is so much to be thankful for. They should be thankful they have an iPhone, right?
Right.
It's not always about that, but yeah, and no matter if you're spiritual, non-religious, or no matter what religion, we always used to go around the table right before we ate and say, "So what are you thankful for?" And let everyone kind of share a little something, because you just never know. It's like Art Linkletter, you never know what's going to come out. And so I think that's important also.
Many people don't know who Art Linkletter is, honey.
Oh. Gray hair.
Art Linkletter had a daytime TV show back in the 60s, and he would have kids on. I have to explain this for the content. Then they would have kids, a segment that always had kids on, and he'd say, "Kids say the darndest things," and he'd ask a question, and it was like, oh my God, you never knew what the kid was going to say. And that also reminds one to be really careful of what you're imaging to your children, because they might talk about it inadvertently because they don't know better, right? So you have to
Right.
really be careful about that. They have no filters, they don't know about filters, and they don't know better, and they shouldn't be punished when they don't know any better, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Um, so, how do you feel about a kid's table separated from an adult's table, or do you believe in intermingling children and adults?
That's a great question. I think it's age dependent because if you have babies, you're going to need to tend to them.
Well,
Um,
yes.
and it also depends on the size of the group. I always prefer to have everyone, as many people at one table, but I also understand that, sometimes if the group is too large, it might be better to separate the kids, get them fed first. So to speak.
It makes it easier, right, to get them fed first?
Yeah,
Yeah.
takes the edge off.
Here's the thing, too. I believe that kids of a certain age, and I'm talking about maybe from how old are you when you're old enough to cut your own meat and serve yourself? 8? Maybe
Mm,
a little bit younger?
a little younger, I think.
So from the time you're able to do that as a child
Depends how dry
to,
the turkey was.
oh, you're so funny. You must have had a lot of dry turkey in your day
Yeah, that's why I like gravy.
because you really talk about dry turkey a lot.
It's a tough bird to cook.
It is a tough bird to cook. I will say we used to spend Thanksgivings with my Aunt Eileen and her family, and my Aunt Eileen was a very, very good cook. So very rarely was her turkey dry. But I know what you're saying. And whether you're having turkey or not, because I will share, a couple of years ago, Gary had surgery and came home. I think it was like the Monday or Tuesday before Thanksgiving, and there was no way I could possibly cook as he's recuperating. So I picked up pizza, and that was our Thanksgiving dinner. And he came down, and it was a part of the festivities, and then he went up afterwards. But it doesn't have to be. I know that they promote turkey and ham and whatever it is, but whatever it is you're eating for Thanksgiving, it's not about the food. It's more about the feeling in your heart, your company. And if you're alone, find a way that you can find community if you choose to. Some people like to be alone during the holidays. They don't want to be bothered with communicating with anybody else. But whether you're alone, whether you're filled, it's a friendsgiving, or if it's a full Thanksgiving, full on Thanksgiving, the best thing I could say is to just let all the crap roll off and just enjoy each other. I think you can do that for a few hours. What do you think, G?
I think Thanksgiving is a great holiday. Unlike Hanukkah and Christmas, there's no expectation of gift giving. It's just all about giving of yourself and being thankful for what's around you. So it's a little bit different type of festivity.
So I agree with you. And what I'm going to do is we're going to close the show early because I just wanted to pop on and bring my husband with me because I just, though he's not showing so much of it now, he usually has a very light and fun personality. I think he might be a little bit nervous, but we just wanted to pop on and say happy Thanksgiving and let you know how truly grateful and blessed I feel that you're in my life in whatever capacity you're in it. I wish for you today and always that you fill your heart, that your heart is filled with gratitude, joy, and most importantly, love. And that through this holiday season, you that that your heart is just your cup overflows with love in your heart, not just for yourself, but for everybody and everything. And please be kind to the animals out there as well. Be gentle and grateful and generous to others because it will come back for you. So, Gary, before we say the traditional goodbye, do you have anything you want to leave our audience with?
No, just you know, how can I put this? Some arguments just aren't worth it. Just go to the lighter side today. Enjoy yourself. You know, for those of you who like football, there are 3 games on. Uh, but no, just kick back, take it easy, and enjoy.
Thanks, Gary, for coming on and sharing your insights and wisdom with my audience for this Thanksgiving. And for me, as always, I leave you by sending you love, blessings, and gratitude. Know how grateful I am that you're in my life in whatever capacity you're in it. For not only are you my student, you are my teacher. And not only am I your teacher, I am your student. And I'm going to say these 3 words to you. So if you've heard them, you'll hear them again. If you haven't heard them, please let me be the first to say, I love you. You are loved, not just by me, not just by family and friends, but you have so many beings on the other side of the veil who truly love you and who are there to conspire on your behalf. Here's the ticket. You need to ask for what you need because they don't have the free will to just see what's going on and say, oh, I'm going to help. You have to ask for help, support, guidance, whatever it is that you need in your life. Ask your beings on the other side so that they can start to conspire and manifest for you. All right. I hope you have the most incredible Thanksgiving day for those in the U.S., those across the world. I just hope your day is amazing each and every day, not just the one. And I will be back next week. And until then, stay well and take care.